Hey beauties, morning to you. I woke up with a sort of a not sadness in the sense of just life, but just with the whole decadence we're seeing in Jamaica. And I'm thinking about, what the governor of BOJ just recently said, and I'm thinking to myself, as Jamaicans, we have to really put our feet to the pedal, because already you are understanding the mindset of where the elites are. You are already understanding the mindset that they really and truly want this segregation. They like the classism. They like the split. They like this dichotomy. They don't want any form of integration. They don't want you to rise higher. In fact, they don't want even a sort of a 50%. So when it seems as if you're rising higher, is even going 50 and above, it is going to be very problematic. And that they're going to even create something that is a farce, something that is not even real, a sort of a figment, a mythical hypothesis to make you think that what they're promulgating is gospel. I have never seen something as disturbing. I never dreamt I would have heard somebody coming out stating that be careful not to pay people too much because it will affect inflation, make inflation, when they are getting their salary supersedes almost the skies, for lack of a better term, and others can't benefit in a more wholesome way because too much of one is going to just a small sector of people. My beautiful Jamaicans, I want you to educate yourself. I'm not just talking about formal education. I'm talking about getting into real critical thinking skills, getting into creativity that will make you earn your keep and succeed and survive this life, not just barely, but bountifully. That is how God wants you to succeed this life. He says, above all things, I want you to prosper. He's talking about financially, spiritually, educationally, emotionally, psychologically. Left up to these people, you stay stagnant. It's like you come to a stalemate. There is a blockage. There is a hindrance. You're not moving. Until we get rid of this sewer mentality, we will always be in this problem. The split in this country is too great and too grave. I think it was Mr. Barack Obama, former president, that had said, if it wasn't him, somebody that said, boy, I know America has their own issues, but the disparity between the rich and the poor here is too wide. The late, great and venerable, the very notable and esteemed Dr. Miles Monroe had said many, many, many years ago in the early 2000s, that for every $100 the Jamaicans earn, $50 goes to the government. He was saying it's beyond a travesty of justice. Now this fellow is going to come and talk about that employers, especially in the private sector organizations, be careful of don't pay people too much. Silently, what he's really saying is, I don't want them to be catching up with me. I don't want them to be on my same level. That's what you're saying. That is how we're interpreting it. That is how we are interpreting it. That is beyond an evil mind. That's a bad mind. Your mind being bad. It's almost like it's filled with malicious envy and malignant jealousy to see people thriving. Look how much you have, and you still want to tell private sector what to pay? How dare you? I have never seen anything as disturbing as that. I tell people, the Jamaicans have this saying that, don't box bread out of people's mouth because you don't know how you're affecting them. The effect that is happening to them it's astronomical, It can cost them their lives when they don't have money to take care of their needs. I've often spoken about 6 basic fears: fear of death, the fear of old age, a fear of the loss of love of someone that they love. So in other words, the person who loved them don't love them anymore. The person who loved them no longer loves them. And I don't remember some of them, but I remember the fear of poverty or lack, something like that, not having money. Right? I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. It was when the man mentioned all of that. Sorry for the slight distraction, people. So Jamaicans, you have to find a way to make your calling and election sure. Not just talking in a spiritual sense, but in a financial sense. Because you don't know if some of these companies will listen to what this man is saying and believe that what he's positing is gospel about affecting inflation. I've never heard farcity and nonsense and madness, stupidity, injustice, unfairness, and mixing up the whole of them in one. I've never heard. I can't even believe that he was so brave and brazen to say it. What? Out of order. A disrespect to the Jamaican people who have been trying and toiling for many years. And then just recently we celebrated Emancipation and Independence Day respectively. And then you're going to talk about don't pay people whatever, as if even what they're going to be increasing to, as if it's anything extremely grandiose that will carry people to great wealth. Eh? And make it sound as if it like even when they increase it, it's going to carry them to some great wealth. And so what if it does? The world is very wealthy. Everybody in the world can be wealthy, and the world remains wealthy, and the wealth replenishes. That's a mighty God we serve. I don't understand you, Mr. Biles. The thing grieved my soul. To see how they have now basically given away, what people have been just wondering if we were really, deliberately being held from really becoming what God has really called us to be. Here really showing us, sir, that injustice is a real thing here. You're really showing us that. Unfairness. People work hard, and you want to tell them how to be remunerated? Can we tell them how to remunerate you? Because sometimes some monotheists are not part the Red Sea and are raise the dead and turning water into wine. When you're not doing anything like that, it's people at the bottom will hold the boat so that the boat can row properly and move steadily to its destination. Why these organizations are doing well. And they deserve the massive increase. Not just a little increase, not just a trickle. Because you don't get a trickling. I mean, what is really not this? The more I talk about it, the more irritates me. I have to really control, because this thing will make you just behave in unseeming ways and say the worst things that you don't want to, that you will, and I don't even want to regret having to say. So you should recant and apologize to the people. You really should recant what you have said and apologize to the people. And you will not understand until you're in the people's shoes. You will not. You cannot. I've often said that people cannot understand a situation. You can only the best that somebody can do is empathize. It's like somebody who was sexually molested or raped. I can only empathize. I cannot understand the gamut of the pain and the agony they go through. I don't want to experience it to understand, because I'm already showing empathy. So you can't understand what people are facing financially. Educated people and so on are hardworking people. And every month when they look at the salary, it's a joke. A member of the JLP party years ago had stated that anybody earning $500,000 monthly, or what at the time it would have been $6-7 million yearly, they're barely scraping, because the individual knew that was not no big money. And I guarantee you the massive increase is probably carrying some people to 500 take home, and maybe a little bit above it, depending on where you are on the spectrum. And you're talking about don't? Jamaicans, wise up. Go and get some. If you're not, you say, our illiteracy rate, where it is at, okay, we need to change the trajectory of that. Guys, I can only implore you, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please share this message.